What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video we are doing a refresher slash all-inclusive deep dive breakdown on the wonderful community of Waterside in Lakewood Ranch, Florida. The reason of doing this video is just since early this year things have drastically changed. I think it's super necessary based on what I've seen on the internet and what people are mentioning to break down actually what's happening, what you can do, and what you can do moving forward most of next year. We're going to break down how to buy all 2 neighborhoods, 4 separate builders at the moment, plus what I'm seeing in the future, prices, the lot releases, what you can do, how you can do it, when you can do it. We're going to break down the new downtown Waterside. It's furthest along I've ever seen it. That's probably one of the biggest allures to the area. So I'm going to show you what the vendors are, what it looks like, everything included. The location of Waterside as a whole, we're going to break down why that's so special on a map to Florida, how we can help in my team, what we do, that kind of thing as well. This video is structured, this is very important, this video is structured in timestamps and it's a guide. It is a model, it's a way to basically research, it's a tool. So it's not meant to be short, it's going to be all inclusive, it doesn't need to be watched in one setting. I want you guys to try to use it like that if you can. That's going to be the most useful, and it's going to become more valuable if you're actively touring the area as well, or if you're talking to us as well. It's a great supplement. So without further ado, let's hop in and check it out. Okay, Lakehouse Cove has a lot of standard amenities that are in a lot of 2021, 2022 communities in the suburbs in the current age. And then they also have a few unique things to the area, to the style of the community, etc. So just kind of rattling them off. There's a long rectangle pool, and that pool is very nice pavered, cabana areas around it. It leads into a spa that flanks the front of the edge of the Kingfisher Lake. One of the main unique things about this community is Kingfisher Lake itself. It wraps all the way to the downtown Waterside place. It's a larger lake than you're going to find in most suburban communities, so better views, it feels more waterfront in general for an inland community. Secondly, you have a tot lot around the pool, which is nice for the kids or grandkids. You have a couple different dog parks that you have access to. And then behind the pool, you have a long natural grass area for mixed use events, yoga, etc. Any events they do with the full-time amenity director. Another unique thing about this community is a very large gym. So it's better than a little podunk hotel gym that some communities have had in the past in the early 90s and early 2000s. So they have treadmills and a glass front that overlook the water. It's a very nice array. And then a couple other things just to finish off here. There's a very large lake house. So kind of a divide of some communities is the loss of a restaurant, right? If it's not a country club. This one does not have a restaurant, but their lake house is very, very nice. It has a cabin type of feel. It feels very northern lakefront to me. It has a dry bar, very nice furniture, card rooms, this kind of thing. Wraparound porch that overlooks the water in the rear. And then they have a boathouse, which is one of the most unique things about this community. Stores kayaks, stores paddleboards. That's where the water taxi will take you around to the downtown district if you're in the Lakehouse community, Lakehouse Cove community. And finally, bocce ball, pickleball, and some of the other things that interest people of this clientele. So a very nice offering overall. Okay, Arthur Ruttenberg is franchise-based with carefully selected builder partners to be their franchise owners. In the Sarasota area where Lakehouse Cove is based, this is Nelson Homes. This is a very niche custom offering, building on average 30 to 40 total homes in the Sarasota greater area a year. So just very custom, very specific. And just for example's sake, if you're familiar with the area, they've built in the Lake Club, they built in the original Country Club, they're in the Founders Club, so you can get an idea of the style and the level of communities they're in. They also do urban infill type of stuff that a lot of custom guys do, right? So to finish off this, Arthur Ruttenberg, as far as like the way they lay out, kind of how to build, how the process works, all this kind of stuff, you can do anything you want, right? As long as it fits in the confines of the draft and the lot size and the width and all, the height requirements, all that kind of stuff. And then they have regular models like most custom guys do to give you some example, because most people can't just like randomly build the whole thing. It's almost a burden. But on top of all of that, you say like, I want the Talese model, I like this style, but I want to alter this kind of thing. They layer these high-end packages, and these packages are base level, super nice pools, super nice appliances, this kind of thing. But they have 3 or 4 tiered levels that allow you to even take that model and upgrade it automatically based on all the data that Arthur has that says that everybody wants this similar thing on average, which puts you at a little bit more ease, and then maybe all you have to do is tweak 1 or 2 things at the end to bring it full circle. I found that to be very helpful with people, and more importantly, the cost control of finality and what your cost will end up being, so you don't go from like 1.2 to 3 million all of a sudden, is more confined with this kind of approach. Okay, locationally, the custom guys on this phase decided to put 100% of their lots on the big body of water, Kingfisher Lake. So economically, in my mind, you need the prime rear exposure, you need the prime location in the community, you need some extras in order to brunt this financially. And the way they basically split it is 28 total lots that are custom building, as there's 2 custom builders currently in Waterside. Lee Weatherington has half of them and Arthur Ruttenberg has half of them, split right down the middle. They're going every other lot. We're going to talk about Lee Weatherington a little bit, the differences next, but Arthur Ruttenberg specifically, you have 14 total lots. 1 is a parking lot that was chosen not by them. Second one is a model, so they have 12 total lots that they're going to roll out. The location of every one of these lots basically goes right behind, we'll show you here, right behind the pool. It's getting towards Fruitville, and it wraps around the amenity center. So a lot of this kind of looks straight out at the lake, and then as it wraps around, it looks straight over to the boathouse right beyond the pool. So again, big body of water where the water taxi exists, closer to the south end, so getting in and out of the community, Fruitville, all this kind of stuff is going to be quite easy, and then you get a little bit more width with the lots to build the floor plans that you'd want to build on this side of the community. Okay, from a financial standpoint on the Arthur Ruttenberg side of the new release, you're going to be looking at a very outside chance of being under 2 million all in, but more realistically just over 2 to about a 2.7-ish million range. The road to getting this economically is a on average lot price of those 14 lots of about 550 grand. And then you take, from my experience, a per square foot price of just over $480. That combination is going to take you to, most people are going to end up over 2. And the one thing to consider is the way they arrange this is they're very, very conservative in the way they price. The lot is what is heaving people over 2 million right now. If the lot costs over 5, your road to under 2 is very slim, but it's also kind of firm if you use their packages and use their models. So I would say if you're like, I could do 2.2 or 2.3, I think that would be pretty easy to achieve on most lot sizes. So that's the one thing to consider, but I really, really wouldn't be thinking 1.8, 1.9 in here. I'd be thinking slightly over 2 at a minimum to get what you want in this community. Okay, lastly, Arthur Ruttenberg and Lakehouse Cove. How do you buy? What do you do? What happens next? So as of the time we filmed this video, about a week ago, they released 5 of their 14 lots. So 9 are remaining. Those 5 went kind of crazy, feeding frenzy. They already have reservations on them. They are gone. They haven't formally put out the map of what's left as far as the lot numbers. What they're going to do next is they're going to wait until January and release about 2 to 3 is what's estimated. They're going to release about the same protocol per month on average, so maybe it takes another 4 to 5 months if they just did it in succession to sell out of the rest of the community, maybe by summer of 2022. The reason they're not going to release 5 every time is because they are going to launch very soon here a community further north called Star Farms in Lakewood Ranch, kind of parallel to Esplanade Azario, so much further north in the community. It should be a little cheaper because of that reason, but they don't want to just cannibalize that effort. And the final thing I wanted to mention is the way that Arthur, I really like the way that they're going to release the lots. So when they release the lots in Waterside, they say, okay, in January 2 to 3 are available. It is first come, first serve. You got to follow the rules. You got to show serious intent. But if you're really adamant and on the ball, you can grab an opportunity. And when they say 2 to 3 signings. So if there's 9 lots left, they're going to let you pick any of the 9 to be one of your 2 if it's your turn, rather than just saying it's these 2. We're going to save the best for last, and you got to take these 2 specific numbers. So I did want to mention that, and I hope that gives you some clarity on this builder and this community. Okay, Lee Weatherington Homes, your second custom option inside Lakehouse Cove. So just differentiating between them and Arthur as your 2 options. Lee Weatherington's family owned, I think it was built in 1974, started in 1974. They were actually headquarters out of Lakewood Ranch, so real heart for the area. and it's full-on custom builder. So just a little bit different business models, but not all that different. You can do custom with either. Lee doesn't package, they have models, but they don't package like tiers of plans like Arthur does. In some case, in my opinion, Lee sometimes comes out slightly cheaper, but all in all, I mean, most people pick based on stylistically how they feel about the companies, the models, and just the style between the two. Okay, locationally, this one's pretty simple. After doing the other section is they are exactly the same as Arthur Ruttenberg. It's just every other lot. So they also have 14. Lee has the odd number lots. They start at 599 and move their way around the hook of the water. Arthur starts with the even at 600 and moves, they're around the same hook. They have 14 total lots. I don't think they were selected for the parking lot, so they should be able to maybe sell theirs off slightly quicker than Arthur, but you're still gonna have the chance to have a west long facing exposure. We went over to the amenities center actually yesterday, and you could see from Waterside Place directly down to the lots. So there's interesting, regardless of the builder you select, you should have an option to get a pretty preferential view depending on what you like in particular. Okay, pricing wise, you're still gonna be stuck with that $550-ish lot price. So I think you're gonna end up in a very similar spot in my opinion. It's hard to kind of guess randomly at custom guys, but Lee, a lot of times, I think if you do have a road to maybe a 1.9 million, I think it potentially sits with the Lee Weatherington side. Now you could do a myriad of things, right, that take you over 2 million, but I think there is a road to that potentially based on their price per square foot, where Arthur, almost every single person ended up over 2. So just food for thought there. If you had to draw a line in the sand and pick one to be slightly cheaper, I think your Lee Weatherington's gonna be anywhere from that maybe 9.5 or 1.9 to $2.5 million total. Okay, and lastly, how do you buy? What happens next with Lee Weatherington at Lakehouse Cove? You currently have as of mid-November, you have 8 of their 14 lots left. The rest are reserved. The next release will be in January, so you should be in that 2 to 3 lot trickle. So between them and Arthur, you should have about 16 to 17 more chances to win one of the lots if all was equal on the views. So that'll be the way to progress. This is another one where it's serious intent. Need to get you patched in. I could get you patched in at the same time with both sales reps, but need to get you patched in, need to get you set up, start speccing out the houses, start getting prepared for January, and it's gonna be a first come, first serve thing. A little bit of a feeding frenzy, but if you're ready, it should be relatively simple to grab. Okay, Homes by Town, the majority owner of the land in Lakehouse Cove, I liken to kind of a Toll Brothers in a way, a very, very high-end, elegant option if you're not going fully custom. So you should save potentially $400,000, $500,000, $600,000. It's going to be more regular floor plans, always in really nice communities, but just not a full-on custom. They're not going to just let you do whatever you want. You got to stay within their confines. You know, high ceilings, multiple floor plans. They have 2-story, 1-story, all kinds of stuff, but a really nice offering overall. And I think would be a nice option if you're more in that sub $1.5 million range. Okay, proximity wise for this new release, from what I understand, Homes by Town is going to get about 200 new lot releases. Now, obviously they're going to be staggered, but where they're going right now, and we'll show you on a map here, is they're going towards Blue Lake Road, which is basically towards Fruitville, and they're going on the bottom of Lake Ibis. So Kingfisher Lake, the big lake's right here. Lake Ibis is right here. So they're going to run this bottom, and all these homes are going to be on the water with rear exposures looking this way. And then they're also going to go just to the left of that. So they're going to have just a few preserve lots. Preserve is getting, or non-water, is getting way less common in any of the new releases. So Shoreview almost has none, no custom lots, non-water. So it's really a price tag thing. So something to consider, but they will have a few on this one. So your best chance to get in Lakehouse Cove on non-water, it really is only Homes by Town. So they're going to be basically at the bottom of that water, and just to the left of that, there's a little pond and a little bit of preserve before you get to the amenity center. Okay, economics. So the pricing of these homes, where you're going to be sitting, in my opinion, is they actually have a wide array of, they have these small kind of empty nester 45-foot collections, 52-foot collections, and they go all the way up to the bigger ones, which are the only ones most people are aware of. So because of the small series, they've had spec homes homes as recent as actually today when I'm filming this, that sitting in that like high 600s to low $700,000 range for like the Beacon and the Skiff and the K. And these are like 1,800, 1,900, 2,100 square foot models, as low as even 1,500 square feet. But it's a real narrow kind of shotgun style home, because a big single story needs really 62 foot plus. But then you get to the regular series where it's like the Outrigger, the Tideland, the Weatherly, the Islander, and you're in this, forgot the name of the series, but they're larger series that needs the bigger lots. Those base prices are all, I don't think there's gonna be any base price under 700. They might even be a little higher than that. So because of that and the water locations, I don't think these pieces of water are gonna be $550,000 like Kingfisher Lake, but I don't think they're also gonna be 100K. So because of that price point, in my opinion, I think you're looking at on the larger series of, let's say, 2,600 to 3,500 square feet, I think you're looking at probably a 1.2 to 1.3 with a pool, as much to 1.5 and 1.6, just depending on the upgrades you choose and depending on the option of the pool and depending on the lot price. But I don't think you have a road to like 850 at the same time. I think it's really that like low 1 millions is your absolute minimum. And the way you want to look at this is if you drop that same exact idea with the custom guys, there's not a price point under 1.9. So you do have a little bit of divide there for appreciation if it works out for you, but that's what I would think about pricing. All right, and finally, Homes by Town's last phase in Lakehouse Cove. How do you buy? If you're ready to go today, what do you do? So with these guys, unlike custom, is what I'm hearing is you're gonna have a release in probably, it's gonna be Q1, probably late January, February. It's all wait list. They never went to bid. They're not going to go to bid. It's showing serious intent. You shouldn't have to exchange anything monetarily in order to wait. It's just showing serious intent and really trying to get in line for what you want quickly. I would say as soon as possible, as soon as they let you wait. And then they have had a lot of like trickle in spec homes throughout. So I try to send those out in my newsletter if anyone's on that. But yeah, this one should be a first quarter conversation, and you'll have probably, by the time Homes by Town sells, because of the way the custom guys are releasing, you'll probably have about 15-ish, 12 to 15 custom lots left of their 28. Shoreview will still be selling their 70 lots that they have available, and then Homes by Town will have the heavy majority of Lakehouse Cove, so it will be a Homes by Town or nothing conversation by the first few months of next year. Okay, our other neighborhood in the Waterside community at the current moment is Shoreview, and Shoreview offers quite a different array versus the other side. So you only have about 300 total homes in this entire development, and how they actually even got to 300 as a cap is a little interesting. I'm going to mention that in the next section. This one versus 3 mixed builders, it's only one on the entire side. They're all built by the national builder Pulte. You cover about 144-ish total acres. HOA fee-wise, pretty reasonable, about $350-ish on average, depending on the size of your home. And finally, a couple unique things about Shoreview in general is you have one of the least amount of homes per this total acreage size about how they're spread about. It's a lovely little location. And secondly, it's the closest one in all of Waterside right now, besides like the lease apartments, to the downtown, where good or bad, Lakehouse Cove is about 2 miles away. This one's a little closer. So very nice feel overall homes. All right, let's talk to the developer on the Shoreview side of this community, Pulte. Pulte is a large, traditional national builder, 70 plus years of experience. They have a huge kind of parent company presence. They own Centex, they own the brand DeVosta, they own the brand Del Webb. So for instance, if you're familiar with the area, they build DeVosta's Mallory Park, they build Island Walk in Welland Park is DeVosta, Talon Preserve is DeVosta, Sapphire Point is Pulte, Centex is all over Wesley Chapel in Tampa. So very large presence around, right? So most people have probably run into them in even in your home state. So process-wise, because of that and because of the way they structure, it's a very normal build. So you're going to pick your lot, you're going to pick your base floor plan. You're not going to get to do whatever you want, beyond that floor plan. You're going to pick your structural upgrades. You're going to do your design session 45 to 60 days later. You're going to put a deposit down on that entire amount, and you're going to do normal financing if you choose to do that, and just kind of go through the whole process normally, right? So it's a little bit more ease than like a construction to perm loan, like some of the custom guys, or just having any option you want, and you're going to get a little bit more affordability than a full-on custom build because of that. that. But all in all, should be a pretty common process if you've ever built in the past. Okay, amenity-wise in Shoreview. So first off, you have a quasi beach. So there's a beachfront on that lake, right? It's not the Gulf of Mexico, big lake, but they have a little beach, hammocks, some nice chairs, that kind of thing. There's a resort-style pool and spa. There is a kayak launch. They have tennis and pickleball on this side. There's an outdoor bar and grill. There's a pretty nice gym that they have there with some state-of-the-art equipment. There's a community center, a fire pit, and overall a very normal level of amenities that are just dedicated to these 300 total homes. Okay, locationally for this phase and basically for the rest of the time, because of the cap of amount of homes in this community, you have roughly 70 total lots available. 16 of those 70 are in a section that most people are familiar with. So right now they're running from lot number 26 to about lot 8, and that goes down this very long view western facing exposure, which is on a good sized lake but not Kingfisher, shooting this way. And as you go from 26 down to lot 8 going this way, it gets a little bit cheaper because of the view just changes, the exposure changes. And then the reason that they have 70 and not just 16 is because 54 of those lots, if my math's right, they just acquired very, very new, and the cool thing about those is they acquired them on Kingfisher Lake, which is that same piece of water that Lee Wetherington and Arthur Ruttenberg are doing their custom. So obviously these will be at a premium, but these will give you a very similar access with a different level of build, which might give you that Kingfisher view with an overall cheaper price point if you view it that way, if you're comparing. But in essence, this is what's going to be left if you want to be in this side of the neighborhood. Okay, let's talk economics. So your realistic price range here on these 70 lots, in my mind and my estimate, is going to be about 1.3 million to probably about a 1.6 mil. And the way that I'm getting there from my experience of running through this with a ton of people is the lowest price lot that I've seen as of late is going to be in that high 360s range. When you get to that Kingfisher Lake, you're going to get back in those mid 500s. So the difference on this versus the custom is then you layer, like, say the Pinnacle, which is like their flagship 3,000 square foot Pulte floor plan on a single story. You can add the top too, but you get the point. But if you add 700, 750K base plan to 365, and then you pull structural design, that's how I'm getting to that 1.3 number. The website and stuff is going to be very misleading on these kind of semi-custom builders, because when you spec that thing out, you probably wouldn't even like it at $1 million. Most folks wouldn't, because that's like bare bones, and there hasn't been one person that's done it that way. So even if you're not extravagant, I think 1.2 to 1.3 million needs to be in play. And if you buy a base plan that's 850K versus 700K, you get the point of how you're creeping to that 1.5 to 1.6. Okay, lastly, Shoreview at Waterside. What happens next? What's the future entail? How do you buy? So word on the street with my contacts is they are going to release about a 3 signing cap contract a month is the plan right now. Who knows what's going to happen in the future. So if you have 70 lots available, this might take a couple years. I think these things are going to loosen up. How you actually buy logistically is a hybrid between the Easy Offer program, which they've been doing the last few months, which is their lottery system with a minimum price. Highest bidder wins. They're not sending that out to the world, right? So it's a little easier to win a lot here. And then the other one is the limited reservation, which they're entertaining again, which Pulte was doing in the past. It might have like a $10,000 earnest hold to it, but it's a nice advantage because you can, especially us, we can really leverage that. So maybe one of the 3 will go to reservation, the other 2 will go to hybrid bid, but that is their plan. It should be monthly. It's not going to be any lot you want. It will be in order of whatever they choose. And you want to show serious intent with these guys. You're not going to randomly find out they're available. Pulte does it a little bit different. But that is what I think is going to happen here in the next few months. Okay, and lastly, just to round out the neighborhood village section, even though we only have 2 right now, I want to talk about some future stuff, anything that doesn't relate to buying in the current neighborhoods, just to add as much value as I possibly can. So I have a lot of conversations all the time, and I'm always trying to find out like what's next, and a lot of these guys know what's next, and they just won't formally say it. So I'm going to talk about some off-book items here. So one of the most exciting things that is going to be in this area, amazing location, is if you're familiar with the area and Lorraine Road runs like this, and you have University Parkway here, and then State Road 70, University Town Center's over here. So as Lorraine Road runs up, South of University is what's new, right? They just built Waterside there. They built Lakehouse, Cove there, Shoreview, everything south of University, which historically for Lakewood Ranch never happened. So to the right of that, if you look at a Waterside map, the future development to the right of Lorraine, so still south of University, to the right of Lorraine, and if you're familiar with the area recently, it's where it's across from Libby's, across from the new Starbucks in that area. So basically just to the right of what's currently happening. They are building on Lake, it's like Merganser. You can see it on their map, like the undeveloped land map. They're building a full custom neighborhood. It looks like a mini lake club of sorts. I don't know if they're gonna have gates or anything, but 100% custom. I believe it's gonna be Stock Development's custom division. Lee Wetherington sounds like it. Arthur Ruttenberg sounds like it. I wouldn't be surprised if like John Cannon and stuff's in there as well. It's 100% custom, I do know that. I'm guessing with the current kind of rollout, we're talking like at least 2 years before they even release or even start. So this is a 4-year conversation probably, but that's going to be amazing for the area, add to value in an amazing way. So I did want to mention that. And then beyond buying in these current neighborhoods, you do still have, if you're not aware, you have Botanica luxury apartments that flank just under Waterside Place, the new downtown. You have the Adley apartments as well. It's a little further up the road. And then they're building right next to Waterside Place where they're doing the farmer's market near the marina section. They're building new apartments there as well. So those are going to be lease only as well. And then they built right in the middle, which I didn't know they were going to do this originally, right in the middle of the main street down Waterside Place. They built these like luxury townhomes. Looks like the developer's leasing them. They're kind of expensive, but really cool. They're like real urban looking and they look really nice, and they're right in the middle of the village. So that's kind of everything I've heard so far. There's going to be, again, more development, but a lot of the chunk of that land is going to be this one custom neighborhood. So that's going to be a cool opportunity if that's your timeline. All right, and now one of the biggest, if not the biggest draws to this entire Waterside district, Waterside Place, which is the newest downtown to hit the suburbs in a long time, and maybe the most interesting we've ever had. It's cooler than your traditional little village, suburban couple shops here and there. This is a proper downtown, lakefront concept that wraps around. And what they've done, in my opinion, is they've really started to solve urban walkability. So traditionally in the suburbs, in the Gulf Coast of Florida, you are 10, 15 miles removed from both your downtown and your beaches. So you want to go to a non-chain restaurant, you want to go for a date night, you want to go to the beach, you're jumping all the way over, and some folks in the population would view that as a negative. Well, what they've done is they've taken these concepts and they've really solved that problem. You're going to have live music here. You're going to have a pier to walk. You're going to have very wide sidewalks. They've already moved the farmer's market from downtown Lakewood Ranch over here. I think over 1,000 people showed up to the very first one, which was I think just about a week ago. And in essence, they're doing this shop, eat, drink, pamper, and play concept, which we're going to get into, but an unbelievable offering overall. Okay, just to give you a little bit more context here, I'm going to do kind of a mental directory of vendors that have announced in each category to show you what Waterside Place is really going to entail. So let's start with food and drink. So already announced, you have Crop Juice, which is an organic juice place that has a couple niche locations around Sarasota right now. Very good smoothies, juice. Duck Donuts, you have a restaurant called Forked at Waterside. You have Good Liquid Brewery in an unbelievable location right on the big body of water. You have Kilwins for ice cream, which is also in St. Armand Circle. You have Course Steakhouse. You have one of our favorites, O&A Coffee and Supply, which is right down the street from us here in downtown Sarasota. And finally, you have Asteria 500, which is another restaurant offering in the food and drink category. All right, and when you're done eating on the beauty and wellness and relaxation side, you have a few different offerings in that category as well. You have 3Form Fitness, which is already offering memberships in there now. You have Bay Area Aesthetics. You have Body Bar Pilates for those that enjoy that. Man Cave, the chain men's barbershop, has announced a location in there as well. You have a paint nail bar, and finally you have the Yoga Shack to round things out from a fitness perspective. And then thirdly, a play and entertainment perspective. I thought Waterside did a really good job of mixing this around the commercial vendors. I just wanted to mention 4 of them just real quick to give you a little bit more value. So one of the main ones is Waterside Park. That's a huge 8-acre peninsula, and it's a community park. So there's already volleyball out there. They're building a tot lot with a playground. There's going to be a splash park out there as well. There's a ton of mixed use green space on the waterfront there, and it's pretty protected for like kids and that kind of thing. It's a little bit off the water. Number 2 is the plaza. The plaza is right next to the O&A and the brewery. It's on the corner facing the water, and it's a covered pavilion. Looks like a little amphitheater type of deal. So you can basically grab food from anywhere, or coffee. You can walk over there. You can sit around it. You can listen to live music there. It's in a great location. Thirdly, they have a marina. So the marina, this is non-motorized water, right? So the marina has a kayak kiosk. You can rent kayaks. You can putt around Kingfisher Lake. That's also where the water taxi is going to take you from the amenity center boathouse at the Lakehouse Cove community. If you live in there, it's going to take you to the edge of the marina and drop you off. You can literally drive a kayak right up to the dock there. And then lastly, they have some mixed-use turf spaces, like the one called the Yard. You can take drinks over there, hang out with friends. But the general feel is, I thought they were really smart about how they mix them amongst the town if you walk those streets. So it should be really, really pleasant with or without kids. All right, and then lastly, the fourth thing here, a little anticlimactic, but I want to just round out the, not leave anything out. Services and specialty, there's commercial space in here, right? So it's a cool, if you're moving down and you want an office and a cool environment, you like the hustle bustle. There's already, Lakewood Ranch Medical Group has a huge presence in here. There's a law group called Smith that's in here. MI, the home, they're moving their office there, and I believe there's multiple other suites that are going to be available if you are looking for that kind of thing. And then shops and boutiques I mentioned earlier in the video. Haven't seen a lot of offering vendors announced yet there, but I'm sure there's going to be quite a few to round out the food and entertainment scene. So in essence, Waterside Place I think is extremely unique to the area. It's also in an unbelievable location, so I hope this helped provide some clarity. Okay, now I want to mention location. I talk about, this one's really, really special, more than a lot of other areas. So I talk about when you're in Waterside or really close to Waterside in Lakewood Ranch, in my opinion, it arguably offers, for the money and all the specific criteria, it offers more than any place in Florida when you leave your individual community. And what I mean by that is if you have 800 grand, $1.5 million, even $2 million, in a lot of cases, it's very anticlimactic on the coast. If you're from Clearwater to maybe Naples, on that coast of Florida, the downtowns and the beaches are so expensive that if you're not doing a condo, the best spend of that money, even up to $2 million, a lot of time is in the suburbs, especially if you have kids. So take that concept, right? And where you sit in Waterside at Lakehouse, Cove, or Shoreview, you're between 1/4 mile and 1.8 miles to one of the newest, hottest downtowns in the entire area. Very, very special place. Will only get better with time, in my opinion. Then take all of that offering and say, okay, besides that, what else? Then you're less than 3 miles to downtown Lakewood Ranch, which is a little quaint downtown of its own. And it's small, but it's got a myriad of sports bars, and there's a brew pub in there, there's a Starbucks in there, there's Italian, there's all kinds of stuff. Then take all of that, and less than 4 miles from that, you have a whole entire section that's quite a big swath of land called University Town Center. Both sides of the street, luxury mall, Selva, which is downtown Sarasota, moved over there. Bunch of cool niche places there. And then, okay, cool, really nice suburb, right? Nice master plan. But then take the entire thing, pick it up, and drop it in just 10 miles. You get to downtown Sarasota from Waterside. Don't even have to get on the interstate. Take Lorraine right to Fruitville. Straight down 7 to 9 miles, you are in downtown Sarasota. 2.8 miles from that, you're in Lido Beach with St. Armand Circle. So to have that entire offering with that size house, and then driving to downtown, which is the big knock on the suburbs being really far, I think it's an incredible, incredible offering. And if you take that same concept and shop that around Florida, you have Nacatees of the world, and you have St. Pete, and you have Naples, and you look at where their beaches, where their downtowns are, and try to recreate that scenario with this size house in that level of community, I think it's incredibly special. All right, guys, before we wrap up here, I just want to talk very briefly about where my team comes into play and how we can help. So first off, I want to say about Lakewood Ranch and this general idea of this kind of purchase, we are as deep in as anyone could possibly be. The reason of this is because of what I do and how my infrastructure is set up and how I get my business. We're doing heavy majority new construction. We're doing high-end new construction. We're doing it all day, every day. And at any given time, we have more pending new construction build contracts than most people on the market. So we're always navigating probably 1,000 versions of what everyone's trying to do now, we've already done. Secondly, because of my specific background and because of how I wanted to set this whole thing up and why I'm even in real estate, we really try to separate the individual decision from the economics of that decision. I want to separate what this means to the market. I want to basically incentivize my entire team. There's no short-term income. Most of these things I'm not getting paid for a very long time. I'm not tying my cash flow to that, to your individual decision, and I don't need anyone to do anything quicker than they want to. Because of that, I think we can act as fiduciaries, where a lot of people can't, because it's very hard to do if there's any income that you need, or there's anything you need personally that you need a client and a service-based business to do for you. So no one on my staff makes commission. My entire infrastructure is set up to help you relocate, to support you while you do so, and to be alongside you when you decide to make a decision. And then my deep contacts with individual builders make it collaborative, not contentious. And all of this gives me more clients, more data points to help every single person that comes behind it. So that's my value proposition. I hope that makes sense, and that's why we would love to help, and that is my piece.